This is the Camino Portuguese that I walked. Tui, Oporino, Oporino Redondela, Redondela Pontevedra, Pontevedra Caldas del Rey. I am now in Valga and I'm gonna get to Padron. And then tomorrow this is the hotel that I stayed in Tui in the first night. It's located right on the Camino. It is a beautiful medieval building from the 12th century that used to be a fortification tower that is now turned into a hotel. This is the library with a beautiful view over the staircase. This is the lounge area with a board game table. Here is the dining room with a big table. This is the kitchen where the guests can have complimentary breakfast every morning. The hotel has a beautiful garden at the back with river views. This is my room, very comfortable, with the view to the cathedral and the old town. As I got to Tui early in the afternoon, I walked on the beautiful stone roads of the old town. Tui is a beautiful medieval town with 15th century churches and beautiful stone buildings. There is beautiful architecture everywhere. This is the Tui Cathedral, where I went to get my credentials for the Camino. Hello, another trip today, this week. It's on Camino de Santiago, the Portuguese route, Camino Portuguese. I'm gonna walk probably 6-7 days to Santiago de Compostela. Right now I'm in Tui, which is north of the Portuguese border. Today I'm gonna walk from Tui to Porino. It's gonna be maybe 15-17 kilometers walk. Looking forward to it. And the weather is holding. It was a little bit rainy this morning, but now it's all good. So come with me. The first day question is, what is Camino de Santiago? Camino de Santiago is the way of Saint James. Saint James is buried in the cathedral at the Santiago de Compostela. This route started as a pilgrimage from various parts of Europe. The route that I chose is called Camino Portuguese. That means that the route starts from Portugal. There are few routes that you can take through Portugal, through inland, which I am on inland route. There is one which is the coastal route, and the lengths varied upon the distance that you choose to walk, depending on your time. I chose to walk 1 week, which is the shortest Camino de Santiago road, and it takes me from Tui at the Portuguese border all the way to Santiago de Compostela. The reason I chose this route is because of obviously the time necessary to complete this. Camino Portuguese, you can walk it from Lisbon, from Porto, depending on the time that you have. From Porto, it would have been a couple of weeks of hiking. The reason I chose this route from the border with Portugal is because of the time. This Camino is the shortest route that you can do, so you can complete a full section of the Camino. It's 6 days, and it takes you through the central route all the way up to Santiago de Compostela. There are alternative routes in Portugal that go along the coast in the Portuguese Camino, along the coast all the way to Santiago de Compostela. But this is the route that I chose, is the fastest route if you don't have enough time or vacation. The second question is, why would one want to do the Camino? It's personal to everybody. If you're religious, it has a religious connotation. If you're spiritual, it has a spiritual connotation. If you enjoy the outdoors, it has for sure an outdoorsy connotation. And if you just want to visit other parts of the world, I think this is a place to be. Everywhere you go, it's covered in a lot of history, beautiful architecture, the use of a lot of stone, natural colors. It's a feast for your eyes, and overall it gives you a sensation of wellness. So I guess, why would you want to do the Camino? It's personal to everyone, but it's something that I strongly recommend. I know it's just my first day, but I already feel okay, better than I felt before I came here. And now we're gonna see towards the end of this trip if that's gonna be the case. Now I'm gonna see how well what I chose in terms of equipment will behave and how comfortable I'm gonna be. I'm gonna talk about that as well. I don't know enough right now to form a good opinion to share with you, but I will for sure. And yeah, looking forward to get to Porrino. This morning we had rain in the forecast, so the reason I left relatively late at noon my hotel is because of that. Google Maps is showing me that I have only three and a half hours to walk today. My next accommodation starts at around between 4:30 and 5. Hello. Gracias. And so I thought I have enough time to walk. I allotted myself a little bit more than 4 hours. I'm just gonna stop and really take it all in and see what this is all about. So far so good. It's a lot of history everywhere. Just gorgeous. And the people here are very nice. Everybody says hello, everybody says buen camino, meaning have a good trip. The food is amazing. I got to Tui last night from Porto, and I got to go out and taste some food here in Galicia. This is the region of Spain where this way of St. James is taking you all the way to Santiago de Compostela. Yeah, the food is excellent. Like I said, coffee is amazing, very tasty, and not that expensive. Yeah, going out to a restaurant is not that expensive. The third question of the day is, what about the accommodations? Usually the pilgrims, people that are taking this route, hikers, they chose to stay in the albergues, which are like a hostel where you have bunk beds, you have a nice area where everybody has dinner and breakfast and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the traditional way to do this walk. The cost for that is maybe 20 euros per night. So in case you're trying to look into a budget to do the Camino, I would say accommodation 20 euros. Food, you know, along the way and all the way, another 20. So from what I gather, around 40 euros a day is what you need. I chose to book accommodations along the way, so I won't sleep in the albergues. I won't have that experience this time. but the accommodations are relatively cheap compared to Canada, where I'm coming from. You can find a really nice hotel for maybe 50 euros, somewhere in that area, and the hotel is located on the Camino, on the route. So that's the option that I chose for personal reasons. I tend to snore a lot, and I didn't want to have that bad karma on me while I walk during the day and I see my fellow travelers that couldn't sleep overnight because of my snoring. So I just felt better to do it this way, to book hotels along the way, which is yeah, like I said, is not the cheapest option, the traditional option that people take, but it's my personal option, and so far I haven't regretted it. I stayed in the beautiful 12th century fortification tower turned into a hotel. You're gonna see some video with that hotel, and the experience was amazing. Lots of history, and it was actually very comfortable, and it was right on the Camino. The path of St. James was right in front of my hotel. So that's how I picked the hotels. I use booking.com. I picked them to be on the route, so I don't have to walk back and forth a lot. And so far it turned out to be good. Again, it's my first day and I'm just trying to collect my thoughts here. I thought I'm gonna do an introductory video talking about all these things from my room, but I chose not to. I didn't feel like doing it, and so I thought I'm gonna do it on the way. Very quiet here. It's a Monday, an October Monday. This is called the Roman Bridge. It's a 12th century bridge that's still standing for pedestrian crossing. There are places where you can get water along the way, but not all of them are functioning, and some of them had the postings that the water is not potable. So this is the Vega de Loro Bridge, built in the 12th century. So I see they have they're putting rocks in between the openings of these stones, so it holds them together. 12th century, not bad. The fourth question of the day is when should you do this walk? What time of the year? Again, this is personal to everyone, and also is depending on your availabilities for vacation. The summer can be very hot here in Spain, obviously. The winters can be surprisingly cold, especially in this area. So my favorite time to do walks, including in Canada, it's spring and fall. The reason I chose to do this walk in the fall, in October, is also not only the weather, that it's just perfect for hiking, not too hot, not too cold, but also it has to do with the tourists. In the summer there is a tendency for people to travel more, take more vacation, especially in Europe. So these roads would be filled with tourists. Sometimes when you get to those hostels, the albergas, you may not find a spot, so you'll have to walk from one to the other to find a spot in the summer, because of the number of tourists that take the walk. And everywhere is very busy. These are small communities that are sharing along this way, and as you can imagine, all the capacities are not what the demand is in the summer. You wouldn't find spots at restaurants. It would be tough to find spots for accommodation, like I said. You would be forced to wake up very early in the morning, 4 o'clock, so you can do the walk quick and get to the next stop in time to get a spot. I've seen this in other vlogs that people had from the Camino de Santiago. That was one of the things that it was considered to be one of the negatives, I would say. But again, spring and fall, it's a good time to be here. Not that many tourists. You can see here there's no one around me. I've seen few on the walk, but not concerning. And also when you go for breakfast or dinner or lunch, there's a lot of availabilities and you don't have to wait in line for anything. So that's another net plus. The downside of it is maybe the weather. In the fall it's raining everywhere, including in Canada, so you'll have to deal with that, but that's not too bad if you program your schedule in advance and you check the weather reports and so on. You can choose the time of day you travel. Usually one of these legs has 20 kilometers at the most, 15 miles, and you know it's reasonable. You don't have to spend the whole day doing it, and like I said, you have enough time to walk around, look around, stop if you want to. The water situation here is okay. You don't have to buy bottled water. There are a lot of springs with potable water in the way, so you don't have to worry about that. All you need is a plastic bottle and refill every so often. But these springs are all along the way so far that I've seen, and I don't believe water is a problem. I have ended up buying bottled water for the whole duration of the trip. When you get to this beautiful 12th century bridge outside Tui, do not cross it. The Santiago way doesn't go through here. It actually, you come from over there and then it continues over there. I did cross the bridge. I was very excited and I had to backtrack about 2 miles, maybe a little bit more. The reason being, there is a pedestrian lane that's well identified, and I assume that that's the Camino de Santiago way, but it's not. Anyway, back to the beginning of the bridge and moving on. So this is how this area of Spain looks like in the fall. Galicia, beautiful weather, about 20 outside. It rained in the morning, like I said, but now the sun is up and it's just beautiful. Perfect weather for hiking. I'm back on the track. Down here you could see chestnuts. Chestnut trees everywhere. Yeah, it's a common tree that I could see. The fifth question of the day is what do you have to wear? I'm gonna make a short video with the stuff that I packed. After the first day, and today is actually my first day on the Camino, a difficulty that I found was getting your clothes dry. Because of the weather, it's cold at night and wet. It's very hard to dry your clothes. Although I stayed in a hotel, you cannot really find places in a lot of them where you can have a washer and a dryer. I'm used to the dryer, but here you don't have that option. So what do? What I've done, and probably a lot of people that do this Camino this way are doing, I used the hair dryer. I used the hair dryer. I put it in on cool, just blowing air directly towards my clothes. Left it in the bathroom for a few hours. So I got my clothes dry after I washed them by hand last night. The one thing that you should keep in mind, and what I've done, the clothing that I picked for this trip are all quick dry, moisture weakening clothes, so they dry faster. I'm not sure what I would have done with you know, a wool or a cotton shirt. For sure I wouldn't have been able to dry it so quick, so keep that in mind. Another thing that I found so far that I made a good choice were the shoes. What I chose is these trail runners, trail running shoes. They just have a mesh on top, so you can get wet. The advantage about it is that they dry quick. Again, if they are wet, you will have to use something to dry them up. The other option would have been some footwear that is waterproof. Problem with that for me is that it's still warm outside, and whatever you don't get from the rain water, you get it from your own sweat. And the problem with those type of shoes for me is that they do not dry while you walk once it's dry outside, like these ones do. So I found that option that I chose works better for me. Mind you, I didn't have to walk through tall grass or puddles where I would have got my shoes wet, but that's kind of the options that I'm happy with so far. And with all my shirts and long sleeves that are quick dry, that's the way to go, in my opinion. Look at the beautiful countryside. So, word of advice: if you don't see these signs every so often. Let's say if you walk for 5 minutes and you don't see those signs, turn back, turn around, and look around. You are not on the Camino de Santiago way. Each and one of those milestones have the kilometers to Camino de Santiago. So this one was showing, I think, 111. So I walked 3 kilometers already. Yeah, it's a good reference point when you're on this hike to see those milestones every so often, to know that you're on the right path. In this area, the route is actually alongside of roads. We're actually on an overpass on one of the highways here. So it's a mix. You have some areas that are on a trail and some that are alongside of a road. I've seen few people walking, but not that many. So probably I'm gonna see more along the way. It's already past 1 o'clock. Usually people, like I said, they get up early and they head out to the next town. So probably I'm late in the afternoon, but I've seen some fellow travelers. Look how nice this security railing is along the road. It's made out of wood, but it has a steel structure inside for safety, but it just blends with the road. That's beautiful. About the shoes, so as you can see, a lot of this walk the first day from Tui to Porrinho is alongside of highways on hard surface. So you have to make sure you get a comfortable pair of shoes. I had some issues with I had plantar fasciitis a few years back, and if I don't have proper shoes, I feel the pain at the sole of my feet, so especially my heel. So I chose my pair of shoes that have a relatively giving sole, but it can be used more like on trekking. This type of surface, there are better shoes that you can wear that have a much giving sole, thicker, more comfortable. So it's a give and take depending on how this track is gonna go. If you're gonna have to go through rougher terrain as opposed to asphalt pavement, it's up to your choosing. But if you want to be really comfortable, look for something that is more giving, more gentle to your feet. I have a pair of Hoka's Speed Goat at home. I bought them for this, but I didn't like the way they behave on technical terrain, so I chose to use these shoes that are somewhere in the middle. So we'll see how that goes. Olá. how cool is this? It's just beautiful. Finally off this highway, proper path, all good. There's a lot of water here. It's a lower spot, but just gorgeous. Yeah, it's exactly the way it looked in pictures and other videos that I've seen. Galicia is always green and lush, closer to the Atlantic Ocean. Beautiful nature, really, really beautiful. Lots of trees that I recognize, similar to Canada. Lots of them that I don't know what they are. For instance, look at this huge one. Beautiful. It looks like the bark is peeling off. I'm not sure what kind of tree it is, but the forest is filled with them. Pretty cool. This little creek is just amazing. Fresh water coming from the mountains. This looked like an abandoned campsite. Talking about monster slugs, look at this baby here. This walk in the forest is very nice. One thing that I've noticed, there is no bugs, no mosquitoes, no flies, nothing to bother you really. It has to do with the cold weather at night. They die down. So it's just the perfect conditions for a hike. Not too hot, not too cold. Just good times. Good job, buddy. This is another medieval bridge that you can walk on the Camino. Getting close to my second accommodation in Porino. Long walk alongside the busy road. So I left that beautiful forest that you saw, and now I'm just walking alongside of this road. It's an industrial area, looks like some car factories, Peugeot. So hopefully I'm gonna get to the town of Porino soon. It should be somewhere up there. You can see the beautiful mountains there, and there's a place up there where I think that's where they're getting all the rock from in this area. Here you can see the path through the grass where the hikers are going. Everybody's avoiding the hard pavement. Okay, so the next day I'm gonna leave in Porino. I'm gonna be in Redondela tonight, another about 15 kilometers. The weather turned for a little bit worse. It's raining really bad. That's gonna be the story for the next leg of the trip. Lots of rain. But that's how it is in the fall. So I'm gonna have to live with it. I have the gear for it. Hopefully I'm gonna be dry, and I'm gonna get there okay, so come with me. I have seen coin laundries along the way, close to the busy areas of the towns. A quick stop for coffee and water for the road. Finally I got a break from the rain. There's a little bit of shine coming through. I got to a place called Moss, M-O-S. It's pretty nice. I see there is an albergue open over there. I'm gonna just have a break, have a tea, coffee, something warm, and then I'm gonna head back out. There's a beautiful old church here. Yeah, that's what it's called. MOS. It's pretty neat. I'm about halfway. You can see the mountains up there. I went to this place over here after I had the coffee, and I got something that I wanted to get. So one of this is this shell with a symbol for the Camino. That's kind of like the way it is positioned. Yeah, I get the idea. And the poncho, I didn't bring one. It was $6.50. The shell was $1.50, so it's a pretty good deal. Another neat thing is how they build these fences. Same monolith on vertical, and then slabs of stone in between them. That's pretty cool. Rain, rain, go away. Official sponsor. Today I haven't seen any fellow hikers on the road. I've left Oporino late. That's one of the advantages I have, because I have separate accommodations. I don't stay in the traditional way in those albergues with bunk beds. So I left at noon. I'm still jet lagged, so I wake up throughout the night, so then I sleep longer, but it works for me. I enjoy this this type of schedule for now. Also, I was checking the weather, and the weather shows you know, when the rain is tempering down, so I was waiting for that as well. Now I have the poncho, so probably I'm gonna use it, but so far so good. I'm dry underneath this jacket, so as long as my core is dry, I'm okay. I had the hot tea and the coffee, so I feel good. I just saw a couple of travelers, but they were going the opposite direction. Funny thing about these, you see I have 94.92 kilometers. These have the arrow pointing towards Santiago de Compostela. there is no arrows back to walk the Camino backwards. It's a one-way road, so that's good to know. If you don't have a map with you, electronic or printed map, it would be, you know, hard to have a look, see where you are, because in addition to those milestones that you just saw, there are arrows pointing towards Santiago de Compostela every so often, and that's what I use to navigate. That's what I said, going backward. I guess that couple that I saw, they wanted to do that. It's an option if you have time. Yeah, but that's about it for now. Just left Moss. I'm, like I said, half the way through for today. I'm in the 90s in terms of kilometers. I think 95 until I reach Santiago de Compostela. I have 5 more days to go. So the road now is taking me through the forest again. It was uphill pretty much all the time. So my assumption is that I'm gonna pass this ridge here, and Redondela is on the river close to the Atlantic Ocean, and then tomorrow from Redondela the next leg is gonna be close to the ocean. I'm looking forward to that, and I hope the rain is gonna hold, but we'll see. Meanwhile, this is very beautiful lush vegetation. It's enjoyable, especially with no rain. The heavy rain was on and off the whole day. Lots of chestnuts in this area. They are all inside those spiky covers. Looks like kiwi is really flourishing here. That's a lot of kiwi. This is people's backyards on the Camino. You see the sheep and above ground pool, lemon tree, the mountains up there, just beautiful, and the valley is here. I'll go along the valley and get to Redondela, another 4 or 5 kilometers more. Rain stopped, so that's a bonus. Very nice, very pretty over here. What goes up must go down. I'm getting close to Redondela. It's right down there. It was a steady climb down, but it's okay. I'm not in a rush. I've stopped for another tea. I find that it helps me to regulate my body temperature on this train. And I did see fellow travelers at that stop, at that albergue. I've also seen somebody in the forest. They were just making a tea. So there is a few people still. Murphy's Law, I bought that poncho, but the rain is not that bad, so I may not need it. But it's good to have. It's like an insurance policy, I guess. So just going down, kilometer 90. I started at 118, so 28 kilometers so far from Tui, from where I started. Heavy rain again. So I'm coming from up there, and I'm on a straight line here. Redondela is there, and look at this, avocados. So I got to Redondela, and believe it or not, it has an international airport. I'm not sure, probably European flights. I got to this place some kind of a hotel. That's pretty cool. Looks old. And this is kind of the main square here at the entrance to the city. And there's the Camino sign over there. That's close to my next accommodation. One thing after the second day is, you know, I was talking about the footwear that you have to wear, that it's ideal to wear. I didn't realize it's that much walking on pavements like this, asphalt roads. So I regret not wearing something that has more give in the sole. I had a Hoka speed goat that I wanted to take with me. I didn't. I regret it now, but it's okay. It's not that bad. Other than that, it's not very difficult to do the Camino. If you take your time, anybody can do it. Good morning, day 3. I'm leaving Redondela now and heading to Pontevedra. This is one of the steepest streets I've been on in my life. I don't know if this GoPro is doing it justice, but it's pretty steep. Good accommodation. Again, I was lucky enough that they had this electric heater and a rack so I can hang my clothes to dry, my shoes, everything is dry. And after a careful consideration and based on my own observations, I decided to use my poncho today. So far so good. I thought it would be hotter in it, but it actually has good ventilation around the sides. Check this out above. That's actually the train track that goes you know, above the town, above the old town. It's a pretty nice town, smaller. It seemed to me the downtown area is smaller than Oporino, the last one that I visited yesterday. But it's pretty. I had a nice meal last night, dinner, and yeah, it's all good. Look at this here. They have all these drains swell on that this little drainage ditch. It's nice. So I'm heading on to the Camino, and we'll see you guys later. I stand corrected. It appears that the medieval part of the town is out towards Pontevedra. So what I've seen last night was just a small area. That's the good thing about doing the Camino, is that you get to walk around the areas where people live, and not only in the touristic areas, but along, you know, more hidden ways, I would say. Like this wall is for sale. Look like it used to be some kind of a house. The Camino in this area is situated on the old Roman Empire Road number 9. The rain was relentless that day. You can hear the train going above. So here you see one of the milestones. On them they show the kilometers all the way up to Santiago de Compostela. There is just one way, and that's towards Santiago. The history of these milestones dating back to the Romans. They instituted this system where on each and every road they built throughout the empire, they put these milestones with one way showing the distance from that point to Rome. They have this saying that all the roads lead to Rome. Well, all these roads and paths on the Camino de Santiago, St. James Way, they lead to Santiago de Compostela, where he's laying in that cathedral. I cannot wait to go see it. I really enjoy this historical facts. A lot of scholars are looking at the Bible as a source of historic reference. Some of the facts stated there are about real kings, real people that lived a long time ago. So that's one thing that I really enjoy on this walk, is just seeing the history and thinking that pilgrims walked on this road for a millennia. I'm just fortunate to be here. Despite of this rain, I don't mind it, especially with this poncho. It's actually not bad. My core is dry. Of course, there is a trade-off getting the, you know, wet from the rain or from just from perspiration. The latter is not that bad. At least this poncho keeps my core warm all the way to my knees, which is very good as opposed to yesterday. Also, although my backpack, I bought it to be waterproof. I bought it from Mountain Hardware. It's a 35-liter backpack. It's big enough to fit all my stuff. And however, yesterday when I opened it up, there was a little bit of water inside, and that's due to the fact that I opened and closed it along the way in the rain. Luckily, all my stuff that I have, I put it in Ziploc bags, so nothing got wet. and I hung it up to dry, so it's all dry now. But the fact that I have the poncho over it today is gonna keep the backrest dry, which is good. Now I just see a traveler going back the other way. Probably he's walking back from Santiago de Compostela. I've seen another pair in the first day, so I'm not sure what this is about, but Santiago de Compostela that way?
This way for Compostela and Fatima this way.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, he's going to Fatima, which is in Portugal. I guess the pathway is shared. I started from Tui, which is the shortest route that you can take to get to Camino de Santiago and get that certification that you've done it. So in Tui I had 118 kilometers. Now I'm at low 80s. Yesterday I was at low 90s when I stopped. So I should be mid 70s to low 70s by the end of the hike today. These roads were built by the Romans. It's the original Roman way number 9. They still call it Camino Romana 9. So of course it was upgraded for a while, but there is no cars, no vehicles allowed on this road, just pedestrian and biking. I've seen some people that are doing the Camino on their bike. That's another way to do it, faster way than walking the shortest distance. Yeah, but this is cool. I don't know about this, but some of these rocks might be really old. I don't think that they can be the Roman milestones that I was telling you about, but they look pretty old to me. Yeah, the rain hasn't stopped. I just accepted, nothing I can do about it. I am lucky that I have already accommodations, good accommodation where I can dry, I can relax, I can sleep very well, as opposed to, you know, hundreds of generations that walked this route in the past. Same kind of weather, so it's all good. I don't mind. Now with this poncho, actually it's really good. Some kind of remembrance wall here. I'm not sure what everything represents. I know that a lot of people, when they do the Camino, they take one little rock from the country where they are, and after a sustained hike like this one uphill, they just, as a symbol, leave the rock there, meaning that they leave all their worries or whatever the reasons they came to do this Camino for, and along with the rock they leave everything behind, in theory, in a spiritual way. I didn't bring any rocks with me. Let's have some fun. I wanna play too. So I got into arcade. This is another stop that a lot of travelers take, going from Oporino to Redondela, and then the next day they stop here in Arcade. Pontevedra, where my stop is gonna be, it's about maybe 4 kilometers away, 5 kilometers away, so not too far. This way I could space the legs of my journey kind of equally. Tomorrow I'm gonna have a little bit of a longer trek by 2-3 kilometers. So that's the path I chose. This arcade is a typical Galician town. You see older buildings, newer buildings. It's kind of all the same. I didn't stop at all since I left. The reason being is that I have this poncho and it's so much hassle just to take everything off, you know, sit somewhere, relax, and then go back on track. My shoes, obviously, it's all wet inside. The good thing about these shoes, like I said, is that they dry quickly once I put them to dry. So but my core is dry. This poncho is doing its job. I now understand why people prefer ponchos. Although you have waterproof clothes, the water gets in between your back and the backpack, and although the backpack inside is waterproof, but the backrest and all that, it's basically a sponge that takes a lot of water, and it's you know, hard on your back, and it gets heavy, and so on and so forth, and it's hard to dry. But yeah, that's the update from Arcade. This is the Punta Sampaio bridge over the Verdugo River. It was built starting with the 11th century and it was completed in the 18th century. There are some fellow travelers, and this is obviously the river, and it just flows into the Atlantic Ocean not too far from here. That's pretty nice here. We are still in Arcade. All kinds of shoes you can wear. Yeah, this medieval bridge is pretty cool. You can see here what is left from the original medieval road. All these stones, they are wearing off, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. Very cool. Very nice. Yeah, you can see here the original rock, the divots from wheels from buggies and whatever chariots they had back then. How cool is this? Look at this. See some fellow travelers. We're getting close to Pontevedra. A few more kilometers. Still on the Roman road. When the Romans would conquer a country, they knew that infrastructure is key. So right away they had their engineers building roads and bridges so they can quickly transport troops and goods to and from Rome throughout the Roman Empire. And you find these Roman roads all over Europe, in the areas where the Romans used to rule the lands. In Spain, the Romans ruled until I think 140 or something like that. They were pushed out by the Visigoths. The Visigoths were a whole bunch of Germanic tribes from current Germany, that area, Saxons, Celtics actually, that were united under a ruler, and they become really powerful, and they defeated the Roman Empire in some areas, chasing them out of Spain, and they ruled here for many years. And afterwards, from North Africa, the Moors invaded Spain from current day Morocco, Algiers, that area. They ruled the area around the Mediterranean coast, Granada, you know, those beautiful areas there that have a lot of buildings with Moorish architecture. Yeah, so the borders of European countries changed a lot over the millennia, many times. Whoever thought that people that used to rule this area of Europe, the Iberian Peninsula, were Celtics, German descent. And yet, because Latin was the most spoken language at that time, even after the Roman Empire fell, and this is mostly due to the Catholic Church, a lot of countries stayed with a language that evolved from Latin-based languages like French, Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, obviously, Romanian, lots of Latin-based languages as a reminder that the Roman civilization was around and they ruled those countries. This is a stand that they set up along the way where you can buy fruits, refreshments, hot tea and coffee. That's a cool rest stop. If you wanna take a breather, drink something warm, have a banana. I don't wanna stop. I wanna push on. I don't want to seem very brave in saying that I don't mind the rain. I really do not. I feel good. I don't have any pain in my muscles or anything like that, or my breathing. Look, I'm going really up on a steep hill and talking, but the problem is the sole of my feet. They do really hurt now. I'm gonna get an Advil once I stop at my hotel. I have big blisters on both my feet, somewhere in that area where my toes join the sole of my foot. But as long as I keep it dry after I get to my hotel and just put my feet up, I should be okay. It doesn't hurt that much going uphill, but it does hurt a little bit more going downhill. It's okay. This is not that bad because of this trail. It's all sandy and giving. Toughest part is on the actual asphalt. It's about 2:30. Guess what? It's still raining. Beautiful forest here, and I'm getting really close to Pontevedra. I could see some of the streets on the other side of this ravine, so hopefully this road will take me there. I'm at kilometer 73, so I should be there in 3 kilometers. I've stopped at a local restaurant to have some hot tea and some refreshments. So I got to Pontevedra. There are some other hikers already. I could see some back there. I'm heading towards my accommodation, and then I'll start exploring the town. Train station. So I'm here. That's good because I got really tired. Just have to find my hotel now. Find some Wi-Fi and look for it. After a day of walking in the rain, that dinner was very welcomed. Potato omelette with hamon and chicken leg dinner with fries. Good morning, it's 11 past 11. I'm leaving Pontevedra to Calas del Rey. It seems that my travel is gonna take me through the rain all the way to Santiago. But I see up there some guys working on a scaffold in this rain, so I figure it's not that bad. It was a good accommodation here, bare bones, but exactly what I needed. So I'm ready to head out to Caldas del Rey. This is really pretty, and the rain slowed down a bit. I see other travelers, that's good. Hey puppy. This is not good. Let's see. There is a creek. Go, go, go! Okay. There's no point in choosing. It's not that cold, so that's good. At least it's not raining that bad. These are the places that the locals use to wash their stuff, like big dirty stuff. The story talks about this guy who was walking in this part and he just stood down to relax a bit and couldn't get up. It was built in 1595. Now that was a joke. These buildings, you'll see them really often here. You see how there is like a storage spot with all kinds of openings to let the air circulate, ventilate, and it's up on these pillars, so they can store probably corn and all kinds of grains, and they don't get moldy. It's really wet here. I guess you could realize by now, and so they wanted to, I think they invented this type of storage for their grains, and you can see them as old as 600-700 years old. 60 kilometers to go. The first victim. And the 59 kilometer doesn't look very promising. The river is wild with all this rain. It can't rain all day. Look how beautiful this forest is. Like it came alive in the sun. Still some drops from the canopy. I had to stop for something hot. I got a tea, a coffee, some refreshments. Look how beautiful this leaf pattern is. Looks like a mosaic. Half the way there between Pontevedra and Caldas del Rey. There is a lot of tourist hikers today on the road, so that's a good sign. I see the hikers have a sick sense of humor. This is right after you come up a steep hill. Again, Via Romana number 9, built by the Romans, kilometer 55. Making progress, the sun is up. Beautiful day turned out to be. Lots of water, lots of rain. The rain just stopped. It seems though this trail acts a little bit like a draining ditch as well. That's good to keep in mind. It rained pretty hard. I had to put the poncho back on. Yeah, if you're concerned that you come here and you don't want to get your feet wet, yeah, forget about it. Just put a pair of shoes that dry fast, or sandals, or something that's really comfortable, and bank on getting wet if you come here in October. But it's beautiful nonetheless. As soon as the rain stops, there's lots of birds. They start singing. I actually haven't seen any other wildlife than birds, big birds, small birds. I also saw a baby hare, rabbit, but that's it. This is pretty cool. You would think that the road goes upwards, and it does, but the water flows that way. Again, lots of chestnuts. Lots of chestnuts in this area. Pontevedra 24 kilometers, Santiago 44 kilometers. Caldas del Rey. Caldas del Rey. Lots of water. The rain stopped just for a bit. Good morning. Another day today. A beautiful day. I'm leaving my accommodation in Caldas del Rey, heading up to Padron. This is my second last day on the Camino. 4 days of hiking. First day wasn't too bad, just a little bit of rain. The other 3 were full-on rain. So today, for a change, the sun is shining. I waited until almost noon to head out. I just felt like walking through dry weather for a change. I have some blisters on the sole of my feet, right at the toes, that are kind of bothering me, and the fact that I was soaked in wet shoes and socks the whole day. I don't think it helps. I am better today, and I also developed some blisters at the back of my heel, but I put some band-aids there, so it's all good. It doesn't hurt, so far so good. I just realized this morning that I don't have to wash any more clothes and dry any more clothes, because whatever I have left, it's enough. I'm gonna wash them when I get back to Canada, Toronto, GTA, so that's gonna be good. But I'm still looking forward for these 2 next days. I'm looking forward to get to Santiago de Compostela tomorrow. It should be good. I'm really welcoming this nice weather, and I've seen few fellow travelers walking past already. I was out having a coffee, waiting for the rain to stop. So there are more and more people on the way. Before you reach this Caldas del Rey, there is a convergence of few paths, few caminos going all to Camino de Santiago. There is the Portuguese coastal route Camino, which is going alongside of the Atlantic coast. There is this one that I'm taking, the Camino Portuguese, and I've seen another sign that says Camino Inglés. Camino Inglés, that the English Camino, I'm not sure what that is about. I should really search it before saying stuff, but anyway, that's what I saw. Maybe it was a mistake, maybe I misunderstood, but you know, nonetheless, I'm glad to do this. I'm glad that I have this opportunity to walk on this beautiful trail, to see how, you know, people live, what they do in the mornings, in the evenings. I've seen people in restaurants in the mornings and evenings, and they all were, the majority of them were with someone, and nobody was actually on their electronics, so that was good to see. So just leaving Caldas del Rey, 43.7 kilometers to Santiago de Compostela. That's where I'm coming from. Nice, the sun is shining, and maybe I was too hopeful, I spoke too soon. That's where I'm going. Hopefully this sun is gonna push away the storm. Hopefully, if not, it is what it is. I accepted it, but it's really good to walk on dry land this morning. So this leg today is gonna be about 24 kilometers, somewhere there. Yesterday I've done 27. What I've noticed is if you go on Google Maps and you know, you check the distance and you select walking, obviously Google is gonna show you the shortest route, not necessarily on the Camino de Santiago. That's why the Camino de Santiago app came in handy yesterday and the previous day after I installed it, because it helps you see the real distance that you have to travel. And also for me, it helped me to see how far is my hotel where I'm staying to the actual Camino. These towns are, you know, built in the medieval times where, you know, the urbanization idea wasn't really followed. They would build the roads and the streets based on, I guess, elevations. So they are zigzagging, going back and forth, up and down, left and right. So sometimes you can lose the path, especially in the town, if you're not paying attention to the signs. So that is why that app with the Camino de Santiago came in handy. I could see the distance from my hotel and the route I should take to get onto the Camino the next day. Oh, I can see the rain from here, so I'm gonna have to stop and put the rain clothes on. It's so humid here that the moss has its own moss growing on top of it. That makes this forest so green. Here goes my dreams of not getting my feet wet. The rain stopped though, but it's still flowing hard from the heavy rain. Let's see. So high 39 kilometers. One thing with these milestones when you come, sometimes they are missing for a kilometer. Sometimes they have them every 200-300 meters, and it's deceiving because when you see one you're thinking, oh, I just did another kilometers. And then especially when it was raining yesterday, raining hard, I would realize that I only made, I don't know, maybe 300 meters. I don't know, I felt a little bit disappointing, and I got used to it now. I don't really pay attention to those. I don't have data on my phone, but every stop, every bar When you stop along the way, they have Wi-Fi. You just ask for the password and they will give it to you. It's a common thing here. And I check my route and where I am that way. So yeah, that's one thought about these milestones. They are nice to see, they look good and shiny, but I guess they serve the purpose. It's not what I was used to seeing. Another thing, for the life of me, I cannot understand which streets you're on in any city, being that it was like Porto, or in Spain too, Oporino, Redondela, Pontevedra. They don't have street names, just maybe at the main intersection, and that's it. When you're on the street and you try to find the street name, good luck. You know, when you try to guide yourself based on the street names of a Google map, it's very challenging. I found it very challenging. Maybe you have another suggestion, you can leave it in the comments, but I did have a really hard time finding the street names and orienting myself based on that. It's more like I'm looking at the street, how they run, which way they go, and something like that, but not based on the street names. That's how the Camino is. You turn a corner and you see something that has a lot of history assigned to it. Look at those ruins over there and the old church. Look at these bulls. That's what they must use in bullfighting here, judging by the horns. Another memory wall. Oh, this is this plaque is showing the Fatima, which is in Portugal. This road is shared. If you go the other way, it's Fatima. And I see this is a small statuette showing the hiker, the pellerin. It's a little bit like this. That's the idea. It's pretty neat. So I'm half the distance between Caldas del Rey to Padron, 37 kilometers, 37.5 kilometers to Santiago. So I have about 17 kilometers to Padron. Yeah, I don't think these are very accurate because they vary by, I found 2, 3, 4 kilometers, sometimes 5. Hola. You see there are travelers coming back from Camino, going the other way. I've seen a whole bunch of travelers stopped at the albergues for coffee or some food. It is past lunchtime here, and like I said, I prefer to wait a little bit for the weather to clear so I don't walk in the rain again today. Lots of hikers left in the morning, so they are in the various stages of their journey. That's probably one of the reasons I don't see that many people walking. Actually, I've seen a few today and yesterday, but the most I've seen them at the patios, in the restaurants when I stop. You can see a lot of them. Here, this is the Camino Portuguese that I walked. Tui, Oporino, Oporino Redondela, Redondela Pontevedra, Pontevedra Caldas del Rey. I am now in Valga, and I'm gonna get to Padron, and then tomorrow. This is the coastal route from here to here, the Portuguese. This is Finisterre, end of the earth, because it's a Atlantic Ocean here. So you can, a lot of people when they reach Santiago de Compostela, they do this Finisterre as well. This is and these are all the caminos that all converge. So as you can see, I've done kind of the shortest distance that's considered to be a camino. Today is a more mountainous terrain, ups and downs. Just walking through this canyon here, and the river, you can hear it there. It's still swollen from all the rain, and the road is just winding through this forest. So the rain stopped, and that's really good. It's good to be dry for a while. Got those beautiful mushrooms, and maybe edible, but I'm not gonna try my luck. Yeah, like I said, it's good to be dry. I tried to keep my feet dry, but unfortunately that wasn't possible. One of them, my right foot, was a little bit drier than my left, and I could feel the difference in the amount of pain that I feel at the sole of my feet if the shoe is wet inside. It's more painful to walk on it and be in that mushy sock all day, but it's okay. Not too long to go now to reach Padron. It looks like the main vegetation on the forest floor in this area are these ferns and moss, just some long blade grass, but that's kind of what I guess adapted to this very humid environment. Ferns, they are on the earth before the trees were. Look how beautiful this forest is. Now you really have time to admire it with no rain. You can look around and you don't have to mind where you're stepping, because it's quite dry. Look how old this forest is. Look at those trees. Huge. This looks to be like a grain mill. They used water to mill the grains. This is the old aqueduct with water from the river, and I see this is open. I hope it's not that. Oh, they still have the stones, and let me see if I can put some light. Yeah, that's better. These are the old stones, and this is where they would mill the grains. The crusher. Very cool. I could see more and more fellow travelers as we got closer to Padron. Hola. Here is another example of a small medieval church that you could see along the way. The river Ulla, another beautiful medieval bridge. Sound coming from over there. I'll get to Padron in 4 more kilometers. I realized that those milestones that they show, that they have along the road, they are not very reliable. Like I said, they had 2 of them 90 feet, 30 meters away from each other. And then there are some other places they don't have anything, and it's all approximate. So whatever you see over there on those, you have to take it with a grain of salt, and just add 4 or 5 kilometers at least. This is the Roman bridge over river Ula, built between 25 BC and 100 AD. Bird Kingdom in there. Welcome to Padron, my last stop before Santiago de Compostela. I can see fellow travelers everywhere, so I'm in the right place. This is a small parquet by the river. It looks pretty cool. I'm gonna look for my accommodation. It should be somewhere close. I'm happy to be here. 1 more day and then back to reality. Looks like she was a scholar, Rosalia. She has a book in her hand. Padron. Good morning. Buen camino. So today is the last day. I'm just leaving my accommodation in Padron, heading to Santiago Santiago de Compostela. I should be there in 5-6 hours. I was told by the owner of this hotel that I stayed on. So that should be okay. Camino. Windy today and it's supposed to rain, so I just put my poncho on from the get-go, although it's not raining now. Looking forward for the last leg of this trip. I have to say I have pain in my feet, my blisters. It's part of the suffering on the Camino, I guess. That's okay. It's not that bad, so you know you have real trouble walking, but you do feel it. You do feel it a lot. I'm not sure what kind of shoes you can wear on the Camino in October when it's raining like this. That would help you keep your feet dry. I don't think there is such a pair of shoes invented yet. If there is, leave a comment in the description and I'll have a look. I'm gonna buy it for sure. Look at those dark clouds out in the distance. It's just 8:30, around 8:30, and it's still dark outside. The thing with this hotel was that you have to check out by 8:30, so that's what I did. But it was a good stay, a good room, and it's right on the Camino, right on the trail, so you don't have to walk around and try to find stuff. So buen Camino. That's it for this morning. So it shows here 25.690 kilometers. That's where we're going, so let's go. This is a beer commercial, believe it or not, Estrella Galicia, and heading out from Padron. It's Padron over there. The rain is starting, so I'm gonna brace myself, put the poncho on and start hitting the road. It's not that cold, so that's always good. That was the benefit of October weather here, is that although it rains, it's not that cold, so you don't have any hypothermia scenario setting in. It's still warm outside. You still find stops and albergues on the way, so you can rest and have a hot tea or coffee. So it's not that gloomy as it looks this morning. Bittersweet, the last day, the last walk. I'm not gonna miss the rain for a while, but I'm gonna miss seeing this beautiful scenery here in Galicia, having the good food and just you know, enjoying what these places have to offer. Lots of history. Yeah, one thing for sure I've noticed in all these resting places, that the dead are not forgotten. You see flowers everywhere, especially now with November 1st coming. November 1st they are celebrating the Day of the Dead. If you guys saw maybe that Disney movie Coco, one of my favorites, you'll see what the Day of the Dead is all about. But you see here how almost everyone is remembered. Almost every stone, every grave on the stone, they have flowers. So that's pretty neat to see. Yeah, one observation I had along the way. Definitely more hikers in the morning. I've seen a few back in Padron getting ready to take off. I've caught up with these guys here. A couple of guys passed me by, so there is few people. One benefit I've discovered walking the Camino these 6 days is that I developed a new tactile sense on my sole of my feet. Believe it or not, but I can make a difference between this type of pavement or asphalt or stones or other stuff, gravel, sand, and so on and so forth. Some areas when I walk they hurt way less than others, and how I discovered that is having two separate different surface areas side by each, so I could walk on every one of them and I could see a difference. Believe it or not, it made a huge difference that I could feel it to walk on a different pavement than the other. So pavement like this is good, asphalt is good. When it comes to hard concrete, not that good, not that desirable. I'm passing by a lot of hikers. I see some up ahead, so it's gonna be a lot of people probably in Santiago de Compostela today. Not as many as in the summer. I've seen some videos from some YouTubers that were on this hike in the summer, and it was, hey buddy, and it was there were a lot of people, but yeah, this time of the year has its own advantages from that perspective, in a sense that it's not busy. Anywhere you stop, you have a place to sit at the table and have something to eat or drink. Accommodations probably cheaper this time of year, like any touristic areas. So if you can put up with the rain and wet feet without developing trench foot, it's all good. So far so good. I was lucky that I had my own hotel room with my own washroom, with my own hair dryer that I used to dry my stuff, especially my shoes, just to walk in the first few kilometers on a dry pair of socks. Like this morning, they are already wet now, but I walked good a few kilometers with dry shoes, and that makes a difference. You can hardly feel the walk. This property is, I bet you, in the summer it's that thick stone walls are keeping the place nice and cool. Yeah, beautiful house. And I see they have some solar panels too. Getting closer. Look at the hiking hordes pushing on. For some reason today feels much easier. I'm already only 17 kilometers away. Hola. Yeah, so it does feel a little bit easier. I did stop and bought some souvenirs for the loved ones back home. I miss my kids, my daughters. I miss my friends, family back in Canada. And in general, it's been a good day so far. I see that I have some wind under my wings, so to speak. It's always blowing from behind, which is good, as opposed to the other way around. I'm in good spirits. It's not even 11 in the morning and I'm halfway there, so I'm gonna have a little bit more time to explore Santiago de Compostela before my return tomorrow to Porto. By the looks of it, it seems though I entered Santiago de Compostela. However, this is a pretty big town, so I'm at the south end of it. On those milestones it shows me another 7 kilometers to go, so probably another hour and a half or so. It's raining on and off. The last day was it kept up with the previous days in terms of weather, but I'm glad that I could see the cathedral, I think, up on a hill as I turned the corner out of the forest. So I'm just curious to see if those 7 kilometers are real or they are deceiving, meaning that it's farther away. It does look farther away than 7 kilometers, but I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, I see the town over there in the far distance, and I think I saw the cathedral, but now it's hidden in behind that house there. That's the highway going in and out of the city. That's my way back to Porto tomorrow. The last stop on the Camino de Santiago. I'm getting into Santiago de Compostela. Had a coffee and natural juice, which was actually pretty good, and some Coke to keep me awake. I'm gonna start heading towards the town soon. 5 kilometers, 700 meters to go. Hola. So these socks I washed with soap the other day, and now because my shoes are all wet and the socks, the soap, whatever was left, is coming out. It looks pretty cool. I'm foaming at the shoes. And the rain never disappoints in Galicia in October. This is a nice bridge. Last 3 kilometers. Bring it on. It's like the Camino said, you know, you didn't have enough rain on your way. You didn't learn how to accept it earlier. So this is the last chance for me to show you that it could have been worse. That's cool. Wow. That just fell off. A few of them. Bring it on. The first time I see 2 directions. One is probably Conso Street, the other one is Santa Marta. And how do I choose? You know, it's easy. I just choose the shortest distance. So I guess Santa Marta it is. Can't wait to get to my hotel and change into some dry clothes. Here we can see the town of Santiago de Compostela. Let's see if we can see the main square. It should be where there is a big church that I don't see. I see a church but not the one. Anyway, it's okay. Getting there. Highway. So I got into the main old medieval town and I'm trying to find the cathedral. The rain hasn't stopped, in case you're wondering. So that's okay. Look how dark it is. It's only 1:59, 2 o'clock, and they already have the lights on. But it's a very pretty town. Look at it, just beautiful. And I got to by mistake I got to the place that I'm staying in. I will see if I can check in. Hola. Hola. I don't know what this is. Can this be the cathedral? Here are some nice old old buildings I see where it's okay. Where you can go in and buy stuff. It's a whole bunch of them, maybe 5 rows. There's another one here with restaurants and so on. That looks pretty cool and busy. Maybe I'll come back later. Usually people, when they get to this plaza here, they lay down and take pictures and videos with the cathedral. I'm just gonna show it to you the best that I can. Ta-da! This is it here. That up there, it's Santiago, the saint that is celebrated here. See the guys. Yeah, it's very nice. I got here. Just stick around for a bit, not long, and then I'll head out to my accommodation. Maybe come back later. But this is it. Santiago de Compostela, the cathedral. This is the back of the cathedral. It's pretty massive, and all these buildings are very, very old. There are very, very many cathedrals here, and it's not very well signed. I lost that Camino de Santiago sign. So I had to walk around a little bit, but I did find the cathedral. I'm glad I've done that. It was raining pretty hard, not the way I imagined before I left home, but I guess that's the way it was supposed to happen. Give me a reason to come back some other time. I'm heading back to my accommodation now, and I'll see how the world is gonna look after I get into a fresh, dry set of clothes. Maybe I'll go out for dinner. Good morning. My last day in Santiago de Compostela. I slept very well. It was a very nice hotel. It's actually right there at the corner, and I had a heater in the room so I can dry my stuff. My feet are killing me. I'm now walking to the bus station to take the bus to Porto. I tried to see if I can get an Uber or something, but I couldn't. There is no cars in the area. There are no cars allowed, I guess, in this section of the town, so they say no pickup option. So now apparently the bus stop is like 10 minutes away. I'm really glad I managed to finish this trip. I saw the news yesterday that in Pontevedra, the town I was in like 2-3 days ago, they had flash floods. So the amount of rain this week was unprecedented, and that's what made my feet worse, because they were wet all the time. But that's fine. It's gonna be a healing time after I get home. I'm not too concerned. The sun is shining today to send me off in good spirits. I blame it on the rain. All this debacle with my feet. Like there is a rainbow at the end of the road up by the cathedral. Oh, okay, so I see the train station here. I'm pretty close. Hello, I just wanted to say a few things at the end of my journey on the Camino de Santiago. I did get home maybe 5 days ago, and I felt like I should do a proper ending of my video. Towards the end of the trip, I developed these blisters, mostly due to the fact that I was in water. I was wet on my feet for 5.5 days on the trail. I went to the doctors here in Canada. After I came back 2 days ago, I got some antibiotics, and I feel much better today. Other than that, what can I say about Camino de Santiago? It's a beautiful walk. You don't necessarily have to do it the whole way from France or the whole way on the Portuguese way from Lisbon, Porto. You can do the minimum that that it's considered to be a walk. I did it from Tui in Spain. It's 120 kilometers, about 20 kilometers a day. You walk through beautiful nature, you see beautiful architecture, you interact with locals, eat the local food. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. You don't get to go through only the touristy places. You get to see how people live, walk by their houses, through the forests, walk on 1,000-year-old roads and bridges. It's something that you don't see every day. The fact that you're walking and you're not I was not on my electronics, gave me a chance to just think back and reflect on things and process stuff. So that's a net plus for me. What I take away from this journey is the fact that you know, sometimes you have to stop from what you're doing and just look around and just enjoy scenery and history, enjoy a nice good food, a good interaction with fellow travelers or people at the hotels where I stayed. Overall, it was a really good experience, and yes, I'm planning on going back, maybe doing a longer leg, maybe a couple of weeks. I'll have to see when, but it's in my plan for the future. I did enjoy it. It's a different way of traveling. It's a different way of experiencing new places, and I really enjoyed it. And with that, I will want to say thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys this gives you you know, a reason to maybe think about doing it. It's not that hard. With me, it was just the rain that was the complicating factor. I've seen people of all ages doing the Camino, so I think it's for everybody, and it's a nice walk. With that, I will say thank you for watching my videos, and until next time, I will say don't forget to take a hike. All the best. Gelone out.